Good morning, everyone. Today is a Florida day trip. We have the bikes loaded up. We have borrowed a little truck because we don't have a way to carry the bikes in the SUV just yet. We'll get that sorted out, don't worry. But we're going on an adventure. Let's go.
Get ready to go. Big day. Number 2 Florida day trips. We're hitting the road today, heading east from Chiefland towards Gainesville. It's a short scenic drive, but the landscape is about to change in a pretty dramatic way. We're heading to a place that feels less like the Florida you know and more like the Great Plains. Now, if you've ever driven down I-75 on your way to Disney or Miami, there's a very high chance you've actually seen this place without even realizing it. Just south of Gainesville, the highway opens up into a massive, miles-wide expanse. Most people cruising at 70 miles per hour probably think they're just passing a large marsh or a dry lake bed. But you're actually driving right through the heart of one of the most unique geological treasures on Earth. What makes this place so special is that it's a pulse, a massive flat-bottom basin. Unlike most valleys that are carved out by rivers, a pulse is created from the inside out. Over thousands of years, slightly acidic rainwater dissolved the limestone bedrock underneath until the roof collapsed, leaving behind this giant bowl. It's an extremely rare phenomenon globally, but Paynes Prairie adds another layer of mystery with its reset button, the Alachua Sink. This sinkhole connects the prairie directly to the Floridan aquifer. It acts like a giant bathtub drain. When it's clear, this is a lush savanna, but when it clogs, the entire area transforms into a massive lake. In the late 1800s, it was actually deep enough for steamboats to travel across it. Today, it's back to being a biologically diverse wet prairie, and it is rumored to be home of wild bison, horses, and more alligators than you can count. Now, this is the nature, so we never know what the universe will put in front of us, but we brought our cameras to show you anyway. Let's go do this, guys. This is an elevated boardwalk that winds around the Alachua Sink.
Alachua Trail. Let's go see what we can find. We were able to pay online, guys. $6 for one vehicle. Alright, this old concrete railway is a remnant of the Florida Southern Railroad. Crews laid tracks here back in 1882. Now, of course, it's been long abandoned since then, but it makes for a cool little entrance to this trail. Carlton just flew right in front of you. He's in the tree to the right of you, right above you, a couple of them.
the sand hill cranes might be mating, so we could see them doing their dance. Moorhens, soft-shell turtles, and of course, our alligators.
How many are there?
Well, did you see them all over there?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a bunch
We'll
of
see. You might see them better from the next lookout. The Alachua Sink. And if you're local, I know we pronounce it Alachua County, but I think around here they pronounce it Alachua Trail and stuff like that, maybe left over from back in the Indian times. But I'm going to call this the Alachua Sink. The name is likely derived from the Patano word meaning jug. It is the deepest of Paynes Prairie sinkholes and acts as a conduit for water entering the Floridian aquifer at a rate of up to 6 million gallons per day. Sinkholes have altered the landscape of this area, dry to wet to dry, affecting human activities dating back approximately 12,000 years. The largest cattle operation in Spanish Florida, Hacienda de la Chua, operated near this site in the late 1600s. William Bartram described the Alachua Sink during his time on the Great Savannah in 1774, when the prairie was occupied by Seminoles. During the 1870s to 80s, the prairie was flooded, and the sink was a landing site for steamboats, where cargo could be loaded onto the Florida Southern Railway until Alachua Lake suddenly drained over just a few days in 1882, leaving boats stranded and fish without a home. The state purchased this area in 1970, and in 1971, it became the first state preserve. Now, a little more to the story about when this place became a lake. Apparently, the sinkhole got clogged and all the water had nowhere to go. So this entire area became a lake. Acres, thousands of acres, because there was, the big clogged sinkhole. So over the years, it became a waterway for boats and fishing, and the whole area just changed until one day, suddenly, the sinkhole became unclogged and the huge lake just went away, just disappeared within a matter of a few days. Can you imagine living here and just watching the lake just disappear like that? That had to be kind of crazy. Speaking of crazy, Curt has stumbled up on a bunch of Florida alligators. Well, part of today, for me at least, was going to start by trying to keep a count of how many alligators we saw. There's so many at this first stop on this boardwalk that I don't even know if I'm going to be able to keep count. Give me a minute. I'll see if I can figure out how many I think are here. It's got to be like 50. I'm not even going to try. It's just really cool, guys.
I think snow's a little crazy. So right now, Florida is experiencing a huge drought. I mean, we've had drought for a few months. We've barely had any rain since we've been back, over 3 months. We've had a little bit, but not much. And so all this plains out here are dried up, which means the gators that need water are right here stacked up on top of each other. And it's not just the gators, it's the turtles and it's the birds. And I gotta be honest with you, everything's getting a little bit testy around here.
Oh, we may have a fight. We may have a fight. Big Daddy out of the water, chasing little guy. Little guy's running.
These alligators over here have just grabbed another baby gator, and one was over on the shoreline just kind of trying to figure out what to do with it, how to get it down or whatever, and several other gators have kind of swarmed in. Now he's kind of going underwater, I think, trying to run from the other gators, and I lost him. But man, talk about dog eat dog.
Gator eat gator.
Gator eat gator. It just happened right there.
Oh.
Guys, this is the nature.
And, I mean, I know alligators are known for being scary and big and dangerous. But to be honest, just growing up here in Florida, most of the time they're just laying around, floating in the water with just their nose holes out or basking in the sun. You don't really see much action. There's been quite a little bit of movement amongst these guys today. One big guy just decided he was going to show a little guy who was boss. The little guy knew he was not boss and he ran. But this is pretty cool, guys, and we're just getting started.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark from so far away? Show us where we are. What makes the sun go to sleep every night, and what's it dreaming of? I wonder. How come the sky sometimes hides behind the clouds? Maybe it's just like me, a little bit scared of heights. Why does the rain always keep on pouring down when it's gray outside? It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder. Ooh, I wonder. How come the trees get undressed when it's cold? And don't they miss the leaves they left behind? Could it be to make the ground shine like gold until winter comes? Until winter comes. Until winter comes. It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. Makes me wonder. Oh, I wonder. dark from so far away and show us where we are. It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. Ooh, I wonder. Ooh, I just wonder. It really makes me wonder. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. Ooh, it makes me wonder.
Now we're out here on this boardwalk, just really taking in all the beautiful nature around us and the sounds of the birds, and you can hear a little bit of the water trickling. But then all of a sudden, this uproar of growling or bellowing started to just kind of grow. So of course we had to stop and see where it was coming from. And it was coming from the gators. It started as just a few of them kind of grunting or growling back and forth. But then it grew into this chorus of all of them. And it was like deciding which one could growl the loudest. And I guess that's, they do this growl during mating season. And just to see these big, monstrous gators arch their back, lift their head up, their throats do this kind of in and out thing, and their tail points straight up in the air, and then they slowly just straighten their body back out and lower themselves back down into the water. And then we got to see something that I have only heard of, and it's the way the water ripples off their back when their whole body just vibrates. If you've followed our journey for a while, then you know I was born and raised in Florida, specifically North Florida on the Swanee River. And we lived in a lake down in Orlando, so we are no strangers to alligators. But in all my years, and unfortunately there's a lot of them, but in all my years, I have never seen a spectacle like this. Now, I've heard gators growl, one here and there, off in the distance. Even when we were kayaking down at Chautauqua Springs, a month or two back, we heard one, but he was hiding in the lily pads, so we didn't really get to see him, and it was just one. But with the water being so low and them all crowded here, it was like a choir, a chorus of alligator growls. And it's literally gotta be one of the most fantastic wildlife experiences I have ever had. And guys, we've had some good ones. But to sit here and just get to watch this nature, this, this mating call of these monster alligators, just getting to sit here and be a part of it and experience it like we did, man, it's just priceless. As we watched, one thing I kind of noticed is that the little ripples on their back, the water droplets that vibrate up when their bodies or their diaphragms or whatever it is vibrating inside after they've growled. The bigger the gator, the higher the drops come up. So I think the height of the drops that are vibrating off their back might be like a sign to the females as to which ones are more powerful and all that sort of thing. But I really wish everyone could have been here in person to experience this with us, because this was amazing. Now I could stay here all day and watch these gators and these little birds amongst them and just kind of how their world works. But this prairie, this Paynes Prairie, is not about just this one trail. We're on the north side, which is where we decided to start. we need to head over to the south side where there's more trails where we hope to spot the bison and the wild horses. What's cool about some of the trails over there is you can ride the bikes on them. I bet you guys were wondering why we had loaded those bikes up this morning. So I got to drag Curt away from here because this is a nature photographer and videographer's dream. But we got to get on the move.
Alright guys, we stopped off at this little gas station barbecue stand. Actually, this place is a bit of a destination. They're known for their delicious barbecue. I got the brisket, Snow got the pork sandwich on garlic toast, macaroni and cheese, green beans, baked beans, all sort of home-style southern cooking. It looks delicious. We worked up an appetite watching those gators. We've got some more adventures planned, but we got to refuel before we head on out. Got some good brisket.
Welcome to the Alachua Trail at Paynes Prairie Preserve State Park. We aren't just taking a walk in the woods today. We're stepping into a massive geological basin that feels more like the Serengeti than the Sunshine State. This isn't your typical Florida swamp. It's a vast, open savanna that's been a magnet for explorers and wildlife for centuries. To give you an idea of the scale, we're looking at over 21,000 acres of protected wilderness. This land has a deep history. Back in 1971, it became Florida's very first state preserve, and it is now a national natural landmark. The other one is right here somewhere. All right, stuffed from lunch, made about a 10-minute drive from the little gas station barbecue restaurant over here to the south entrance of this Paynes Prairie Preserve, where we parked, unloaded the bikes, and then we're parked right here, and we took a walk up to the visitor center. But while we were driving in, we saw the cutest, coolest little owl making his little chirp noises. He clearly had a friend nearby, because there was definitely more owl noises than one owl could make. But we pulled over on the side of the road and just hung out with him for a little bit. Made the drive the rest of the way up here. Took the 2 to 3 minute walk down to the visitor center. Went inside. They've done a nice job at the visitor center. A nice video that gives you an overview of the prairie. Lots of models of the plants and the birds, and a story of the history. Curt walked out there to the observation tower. I skipped it because, to be honest, I think it's 5 or 6 flights of stairs. That would have been tough on me. He was hoping to get a chance of seeing the bison or the wild horses, but with our drought and there not being much water in the prairie, we are hearing that it's going to be quite difficult to see them. But that doesn't mean we're not going to get on our bikes right now and give it a try. We're going to come over here and we're going to take, we're going to take trail number 5 right here. We're going to go out along the prairie and even into the prairie a little bit. And it is called the Cones Dyke Trail. 8 miles round trip. It's hot enough. I'm going to be using all of my electrical bike and no pedal power. How about you, Curt?
We'll see what today brings. We never know. Something was in there. All right, we're coming along a canal, and I mean, these gators are like 10 footers, 12 footers, giant gators. You can see up there, there's a heron taking off out in front of us, and I guess more prairie to the left. It looks really like more like wetlands, and there is a lot of horse poo along here, so they have definitely been up in this area. I'm not a chief scout, so I can't tell you how old the poo is, but some of it looks relatively fresh and it smells like horse poo, so I don't know, guys. Our eyes are peeled. Beautiful cypress trees with all the big Spanish moss dangling down. Just this whole canal is just lined with gators.
We've turned in a different direction, and we riding along this canal. It's pretty thick trees, so you guys might not be able to see it. We've been following this canal for about a mile now, and it is loaded with gators. Big gators. A few little ones, and when I say little out here, I mean 4 footers. But there's some big ones swimming right there. Woohoo! Lots of them. I better catch up with Curt. We made it to the end of this trail. I can't imagine walking this thing. You feel pretty vulnerable with the size of these gators right here next to you. Even on the bikes where we could drive pretty fast. If you look right down here, you see a couple of big ones and a turtle resting on a log.
And those gators might go after that turtle. That's a big food source for them.
Yeah.
And
well, and where we just turned around, Curt didn't catch it on camera, but he saw a gator in the road and he spooked him and he took off running. Ooh, look at them all. They hear our voice. They want to know what's going on.
well, a turtle might have dropped into the water.
I don't know.
Might go up and bump that turtle. Those turtles are a little big for them.
So we heard some rustling, some pretty big rustling in the brush next to the road, and we stopped. It's so thick here. Sat here for a minute, and then finally I got a glimpse of it. It's a little deer. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see him. He is so camouflaged in there. But we got a little peek of a deer. That's better than nothing.
nothing here at the watering hole but a few gators. There's a little tiny one. Well, there's about 4 or 5. Well, now that I look, there's a bunch of little teeny tiny ones and one big one in there. See if you can spot all the little teeny tiny ones along the edge.
Don't mind my helmet hair. Or Curt's. Oh, that was a good time.
Hair, I ain't got no hair.
This is why we need a bike rack, guys, with one of those ramps. It's a good thing Curt is big and strong. What a fun day. Let's get these bikes loaded. We'll do a recap when we get in the air conditioning. We are leaving the visitor center area and that bike trail we just did and the observation tower. That's all clumped up at one parking lot. But we have heard that a little ways up the road, there's a short boardwalk right off of 441, which is a major highway here in Florida, that we might, some people have been getting a glimpse of the bison and or the horses. So we're not done trying yet. But so far we have had bad luck with the bison and the horses.
What I will say is we have looked for a lot of stuff all over the world. We have looked for a lot of stuff. And one thing I've always discovered is we always find it in the last place we look.
Or we don't find it at all.
True story.
We're not done trying. Let's go.
This is officially our last chance to spot the bison and or the wild horses. And this is a little sort of eco observation point. And we saw a guy on the trail and he said they were out here. But I just don't see any. And just like that, there they are. Look, guys, through the grass, bison.
That was a whirlwind of a day. I would say Curt probably started loading the bikes up at around 8 o'clock this morning. We got back home around 5:30 this afternoon. By the time we got the bikes unloaded and took the truck that we borrowed back over to Aunt Betsy's house, it was probably 6 o'clock. So we're gonna call that an 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock full Florida day trip day. We got home and right away opened up the porch for the kitties. They came running out. They loved this catio for sure. But it was a great day, guys. Had a lot of fun sightings. Nailed the bison and the wild horses right there at the end. I sure hope you guys enjoyed it. And we will see you in a few days from somewhere else here in Florida. The Florida Day Trip series will continue. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!